AAA games have a problem. They're getting more expensive, and I've lost interest in most of them. The problem has grown exponentially the more popular video games have become. Don't get me wrong, we're living in an era where you can play all of the best games of the past and plenty of new ones that are coming out. But to better explain the problem I have with most of these AAA games, let me introduce to you what I call the album problem. In music, the concept of an album was created in the early 20th century, when a need for larger collections of classical music were needed, as an old 10-inch record, the standard for classical music, could only contain a few minutes of music. These records were then set in a photo album of sorts, and then came the album. As albums evolved, more and more artists were expected by major labels to release albums. For many artists, this was just a way for labels to sell a few singles as a full package, meaning that many songs on these albums are just filler or bloat. No one thinks about them, like this album here, Steeler's Wheel self-titled, famous for their one single, Stuck in the Middle with You, which was used in media like Reservoir Dogs. It had a fair bit of commercial and critical success, but does anybody really even know this band anymore? It hasn't stood the test of time, and I mean it's not even that bad of an album, but it's just another album filled with bloat that was pushed out by some label. And that's no fault of the artist either. I'm sure they didn't plan on creating an album that's almost the exact same length of a 12-inch LP. This is the problem with AAA games. So many of them are pushed out with bloat and unnecessary additions. I mean, how many AAA games can you name with a tacked-on crafting mechanic? Like, I love Elden Ring, but why does this game need a crafting mechanic? Or how many games can you name that released in a broken state by companies that should know better? Or how many games can you name that released with bloated microtransactions like battle passes? Like, Street Fighter 6 even has a battle pass. Really? This game? There's so many games that just shoehorn random things into their games, and the issue isn't caused by developers. The real answer is simply just corporate greed. I mean, look at Battlefield 2042 as a prime example. It's a fully priced game, and yet it offers battle passes and cosmetics, in which the battle pass system I consider to be particularly predatory. If you're genuinely passionate about a game, a battle pass will keep you feeling enough fear of missing out to keep you playing, which is exactly what they want. They want you to keep playing, keep buying battle passes as they come out, and maybe even buy boosts in case you feel like you're falling behind. And to be honest, it does make me feel a little sad for the industry. It's like they're treating you as just another number on their balance sheet. It's like they're just trying to keep you in one funnel going to the next, and it's almost insulting when you think about it. And that's not the only thing. How many AAA games that have come out in the past 10 years that have just been completely broken? Or games that force you to play through obtuse tacked-on mechanics like crafting or grinding levels for no real reason. A lot of these games try to be too big just to pad their playtime, whether it's the mechanics they include or even physical map size. It just feels like they don't respect your time. This is what brings me to indie games. These 3 games combined cost less than the price of an average AAA game, and I have easily enjoyed these games more than I have any AAA game in the last few years. But why is that? I believe where they differ from AAA games is that they're honestly just pretty simple, and I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is that these games just have few mechanics that they perfect. Take Ravenfield here. It's literally just an AI shooter. That's it. It's just like offline Battlefield. There's no battle pass, there's no cosmetics. It's just running around a few different maps, a few different game modes, and shooting AI enemies. That's it. There was a lot of time put into it, and that time was spent perfecting just a few things in the game instead of trying to overfill it. And this can be seen in all of the best indie games. Look at Vampire Survivors. This game literally plays itself half the time. It's pretty simple and has only a few core mechanics, but it does them really well. And to prove its success, it was able to sell millions of copies on different platforms because of it. To name another, look at Balatro here. I honestly thought I would hate a poker roguelike. The game looks pretty simple, and looking at the graphics, although I think they look nice, there isn't really that much going on. But the devs focused on core mechanics and perfected them. There's no bloat here. I mean, there's barely even an options menu. It's literally just a game. It doesn't treat you like another sale for corporate year-end. It's just fun. And therein lies the problem with AAA games. All companies exist to make money, and there isn't a problem with that. However, with these larger companies, the money is the only thing that matters. A game that's working and fun is secondary. And that's not the fault of any developers either. It definitely isn't their dream to add a battle pass to a game. It just leads to so much nonsense in the industry. These major companies aren't trying to create something that will last. I mean, how many people are going to remember a rush game like Starfield in 20 years? It already has less players than Skyrim does every day, and I'm not even a fan of Skyrim myself. To further that, do you even remember other games that were broken on launch? Like, does anybody even think about Mass Effect Andromeda anymore? I think that we need to expect more from the games industry. Time after time, we are sold hype for a game rather than an actual working product. Or we're sold a half-finished product, or a product that expects you to buy some sort of inane bullshit after you've already bought a copy of it. As a consumer, it feels insulting sometimes, like buying a full-length album but only having the singles be anything of any substance. I don't mean to be so preachy, but I believe the industry could learn a lot from indie games, because we really need more games like this. As a consumer, you should really have your time respected, because at the end of the day, you are a person. You are not just some faceless nobody funding some producer's vacation. Your time is important and my time is important. As a whole, for the games industry, and really the industry for most forms of media, we deserve better.